Bridge. I don't think I have ever worked so hard in my life to see something, but this is so cool. The hardest 10-mile bike ride I've ever done.
The Bixby Bridge. If I had to bike back this thing, I would die.
Welcome friends. Today we are headed south of Monterey along Coastal Highway 1 towards Big Sur. We will be starting today's biking adventure at Andrew Molera State Park.
All right everyone, it is a beautiful day here in Big Sur, California. We are taking our first bike ride here in Big Sur. We are headed up a dirt path. It's going to be halfway gravel riding. It may end up being mostly gravel. We'll see what the day turns out. And we're trying to get to Bixby Bridge. What do you think? Your tires are okay so far? To our first view.
Oh boy.
Dang, it's gonna be windy. You can tell by the water.
All right boys, see you at the top.
Carrie is riding a Specialized Vado e-bike, and Andrew is on a 1995 Schwinn. All joking aside, yes, Carrie, she has a Specialized Turbo Vado 4.0. It's an e-bike we bought last year. My brother Andrew, it's Carrie's old bike. It's probably from the 2000s, and it's just a Schwinn regular bike. It does have 3 chainring, 3 gears. Sorry, I can't talk. It has a lot of granny gears, and it's running 38mm tires, I believe.
I think the tires aren't for trails though.
They're a little thin versus Carrie's beasts. Have you used the e-power yet?
Yeah, I haven't turned it off.
And then I am riding a Surly Pack Rat. So far, I would say your standard gravel bike could make this. It may feel more comfortable with a mountain bike.
Cows way out there.
This is straight up. It is super steep.
First climb, woohoo!
Ooh, crazy dying.
Let's go. It's a steep start.
Either I'm really out of bike shape or this is really steep because I have it on level 2, which is sport mode. 2 out of 3.
It's steep.
It's steep. So I had to get off my bike to stop and get through a gate. And it's so steep right here. It's hard to get a good push off because my bike's so heavy. So I'm pushing it up this climb until I get a good spot where I can take off.
The road's currently closed to cars because it's washed out a little bit. So we had to cross and go through the little pedestrian entrance. But right now it's really steep and gravelly. So we walked up that hill. We're about to hop back on our bikes. Ooh, doggy. This first climb's really a doozy. Keeps on going. Hoo-wee. It's a little steep.
What?
It's a little steep. What do you think so far?
Piece of cake.
What do you think so far? Rough.
So we're about to change up our landscape. We've been kind of in open plains, greenery, rolling hills, wildflowers, but we're about to get into some really tall trees.
Oh, dang.
Now that's terrifying to see that thing fall.
Yeah. All of this road. You think people come out here? I don't know how far we've gone, like a mile or two? The first, like, what, mile and a half was all sun, exposed, and after that you get into some shade. And some washboard rocks. We're almost at 2 miles, at which 90% has been pretty much uphill. The upside is, on the way back, the last 2 miles are gonna be a breeze.
So far, another absolutely beautiful spring ride. Everything is super green. There's wildflowers everywhere. This is just the perfect time of year to get out and get on your bike.
Suck biking back.
There was a bit of a rough section up there where the gravel got really chunky. So far it's been fine on our bikes. I'll be honest, it was a little rough though. We went slow. It's still completely doable on a gravel bike or an e-bike. If I had my preference, I have, I think, 47mm tires. I probably wouldn't go thinner than that. They've been comfortable, but if you have a mountain bike, like I said, that might be ideal for part of this road. We just finally bottom out after, what, a mile or two downhill? It's beautiful down here. Giant redwoods are everywhere. You would never know these are out here, but there's a nice creek running to the right side of us.
A little bit chilly.
Yeah, Andrew can't feel his hands.
Yeah.
All right, we just took about a 10-15 minute break here at the bridge we just crossed. We ate some snacks. Oh, here's a nice, another cool little bridge right here. So like I was saying, we just had a small mini snack break at one of the bridges we crossed. It was very chilly because we were in the shade, and it was windy somehow, even though we're in the middle of a bunch of hills. And after going downhill for a while, I think we're probably gonna start climbing. This last section has gotten a little rough because it's a lot of redwood branches, rocks, debris. So they're kind of kicking up at your chain and your feet. Drew, I literally was like 18.5 miles, shoot. We'll be out there at 9. We'll be there at like 10:30. We'll eat lunch till 11. We'll be back home at like 1:30. What time is it right now?
It's 11:40.
It's 11:40. We're not even there. I'm hoping I get home back to my house at 4. Over there.
You know, you said 8 miles. I didn't think 8-hour day.
Woo! Oh boy, this is another big rocky climb. Oh. Well, the downhill and flat was fun while it lasted. But this is a real rocky climb. Whoa.
You gonna walk?
Yeah, I can keep bumping them.
Nearly straight up right here. And very chunky gravel. I'm not even gonna say gravel, this is rocks. Yeah. Hike a bike. Oh.
Hey, I've never tried your bike. Let me test it out.
Carry that one to the top and you can ride it.
Walk that thing.
I just rode like 50 feet. I thought I was going up fast. He's been walking, he kept up. You better be safe. Oh, huh. We'll walk it. Okay, time to hike a bike and catch up.
So this is the first time I've ever had to get off my bike and walk it up some type of terrain that it couldn't handle. Now it possibly could have handled it. I'm just not that experienced on this type of terrain, but thank goodness my bike has a walk assist button, because this bike is so heavy and pushing it uphill would have taken so long. So this has definitely been our hardest ride as far as like a grade or a climb is concerned. But oh my gosh, the views are literally amazing around every corner. It's literally a gorgeous mountain view. Your brother walked it from here.
You walked it?
Uh-huh.
I try not to.
I think this is definitely a lot more climbing than we expected. We've probably walked our bikes at least a mile and taken a lot of breaks. The video we watched definitely made it look a lot easier than it is.
But I really think we're getting close to the top. Like, we're almost there.
Doesn't seem steep until you're on it and you kind of...
That's right where I did.
If you watch any other video on biking the Old Coast Highway here at Big Sur, if they tell you it's easy, don't believe them and watch a different video. It's literally either uphill or downhill. And the uphills, if you are not in shape, you're gonna be burning. We just had a great 2-mile downhill. It felt amazing. So cold, my fingertips were numb. And we're so close to the Bixby Bridge and we're going straight uphill again. Is it easy?
No.
He's struggling, everybody, and so am I. And Carrie's up there scoping it out.
Oh.
Oh, oh, ah, oh. I almost ate it. Oh, I see cars. I see cars. We're there in another mile. We can almost see the full bridge.
We finally made it to the Bixby Bridge. I don't think I have ever worked so hard in my life to see something, but this is so cool. The hardest 10-mile bike ride I've ever done.
He did it! Schwinn 5000.
Where's that donut, Carrie?
This is the exact view we saw online that we wanted to get today. If we were smart, or if you don't want to do the same bike ride, if you look to my right where there's some cars, you can just pull off right there and park and walk half a mile right here and get the same view.
10 miles later.
YouTube lied to us.
2.5 hours.
It's a hard 10 miles, not an easy 8.
Oh my gosh, that was hard.
Let's go down there and eat some lunch. Never wanted to eat my sandwich so much in my life. Okay. You guys ready to eat? Okay, for anyone still watching, we rode all the way to Bixby Bridge. We enjoyed a long lunch. We honestly debated riding the one about 8 miles back to our car. We talked to a local guy though, however, and he convinced us not to. From what we've seen on YouTube and read, it can be done. And a lot of people end up biking on the one. However, the drive from Bixby Bridge to where we parked at Andrew Molera Park had very narrow shoulders at a lot of the parts. There's a hurricane point out there, which is very windy, and it's noon on a Sunday, and it's very nice out. So there's a lot of tourists. We're a little nervous to be on that road, have someone take their eyes off the road and potentially clip us. So we're gonna bike the hard 10 miles back to our car on dirt. It's gonna be exhausting and hard, but I think overall safer. So here we go.
Stop, this thing's breaking on me.
What do you mean? Oh.
Chain came off. It's like, where the hell are these two?
The chain came off. Did anything else happen? I kept looking for you and I was like, goodness, I thought Andrew's gonna walk this entire way back.
I was moving, and then I had to ride in second
Because it wouldn't shift?
because first was falling off.
Oh, the little baby one?
Put it in second, and I'm grinding these freaking hills out. My legs are gonna be so beefy after this.
You're in first now.
The big dog.
Oh, back there. So if you go into the back one, it falls off.
Yeah, I like wiggled it and pushed it sideways, but yeah, it was coming like forward.
His granny gear is effectively.
It's not funny, but it's funny the way you're telling it.
He's screwed. You're telling me
Now I've been jamming this freaking thing.
that Schwinn from 2004 is not up to par?
That's not 2004. That's like 2009.
Oh, it's new.
Like 14 years old. No. How old is your bike?
Gary's is 13 months and it just had his
Mine's a
computer
toddler.
replaced. Holy, that's not good. I was told by Dad
Just walk
that
back.
this was fixed. We've got a problem. This is the second time this bike has been ridden since 2015.
What?
Harry didn't ride it. It was in
You
Dad's.
guys have been telling me
it
these
was-
things to freaking
It,
way
wa-
to go.
it was, and then Dad's friend tuned it out.
You guys had me ride like a 15-miler on that other trail. Now you put me on a freaking backcountry 30-miler out here. It's been like 6 hours we're spending out here.
Just for reference, we just passed a sign that said the next 6.5 miles are private property except for the road. So we have about 7 miles to
We
go.
had another hour and a half.
Let's go.
We should have tied the bike up back there. I would have just jogged these 8 miles.
You would have beat me uphill.
And the downhill I would have just hopped on.
About to take off. See how it goes. So what we didn't realize was that whole problem with Andrew's cassette here that wiggles. Every time it slightly moves, his bike can't figure out where to shift. So now he has to walk up the hills. Well, as you just saw, I crashed. Luckily, my elbow broke my fall. I dented the brake on my bike. And I technically landed on my derailleur, but it's shifting okay. So we'll see how the ride goes to finish off. This is probably the hardest part right here. I think technically we could ride down it, but it's super loose gravel. It's really rocky. We're kind of experienced riders, but we don't ride off-road a lot. So we're walking the bikes down just in case for safety. Carrie's walking my bike because hers is a little heavier, so I'm helping out. There's these kind of rocks.
Dang, that was treacherous.
That was a treacherous hill. We're back to my favorite part of this whole ride, next to the creek to my left, redwoods, and pretty nice ground. Let's finish this ride.
So just for reference for those considering using an e-bike on this ride, we have gone 17.5 miles and I am at 54% on my battery. I have had to use at least sport or turbo mode the entire time. This is the most e-bike battery power assist that I've had to use ever on a ride. All right, we officially started our last climb back to the car, 2:45. We started this thing at 1:10. We probably have about 3 miles to go.
It's hot and it's hard.
Need some water.
We're back to hike a bike now. You know, I wanted to say, if you're debating this ride, I definitely don't want to be overly negative. It's a tough ride. I mean, I'm hurting. It's been absolutely beautiful. You know, you might not have all of the best moments during it, but it's one of those memories you'll never forget. The scenery is spectacular. Big Sur's gorgeous. The Bixby Bridge, also beautiful.
I think we're finally to the top of the last climb. We've had a chain fall off. We've had a wiggly, loose cassette derailleur thing. Tyler fell off his bike, he crashed. While I was making sure he was okay, the wind blew my bike over. So it has been quite the trek back, but I think we are almost to the top of the last climb.
Well, the ride we intended to do and that we had read about was about 18.5 miles. That ride covered biking through the old coast road that we just did. However, you would return on Highway 1. We decided not to do that and we biked back the same way we came out of safety because we wanted to avoid cars. However, I still crashed. Harry's bike fell over and Andrew's bike nearly broke down. We're still making it. You're welcome. You would have been at home enjoying your day. We are going to cover around 21.5 miles, maybe close to 22. I'm not sure on the elevation. I'm going to take a wild guess and say somewhere near 3,000. I'll put it right here. Either way, this was single-handedly one of the hardest bike rides I've ever done, especially for the fact that it was only 20-something miles. And don't take the challenge lightly. It is very difficult. Hope you enjoyed the ride.